Hello, my name is Roman Ross, and I am going to present to you about the untold riches of digital literacy. Digital literacy is a term having to do with your understanding of technology as it is presented to you, and maybe your comfort surrounding the ability to pick up new things having to do with technology or systems. You might benefit from this training if you are being asked to learn a new system that you are not yet familiar with or comfortable exploring. As an introduction, we can review our learning objectives. The Stanford Center presented to us 4 levels of digital literacy. We're also going to get some exposure to a few basic terms hopefully we're already familiar with, and if not, we will be by the end of this training. One thing I hope to do for you is encourage a shift in attitude. If you have apprehension or anxiety, even when being presented with some of these terms, I encourage you to face that head on, and we'll tackle some of those challenges together. I'd love for you to be able to celebrate your progress. As we learn new things that seem commonplace to others, it's easy to feel put down, even by ourselves. Instead of responding with something like, I should have already known this, or everyone else learns this so quickly and it's taken me this long, I encourage you to challenge that thought with a thought of celebration instead. I finally got it, or now I never have to learn that again, because now I know. And then I would like to empower you to be able to repeat all of these learning objectives on your own, independently, whenever you want. If I break down the 3 main ideas of the study, research tells us adults will learn when they see value. Technology and everyday internet use has been popular for approximately 30 years. If you're uncomfortable using the internet, navigating web browsers, using search engines, that has been true of you for 30 years. I ask you to challenge that idea. Why haven't you thought it valuable so far to address these things, to learn these concepts, or to make good use of these tools? One of the biggest hurdles I'd like for us to try to overcome together, some people approach this as, in my time, we didn't have this or that, or back when I started working, we never had to use these things, we did it like this. It is your time right now. You're in the workforce, or you're attempting an education now, this year. All the tools that are available to others are available to you. They are for you. And you deserve to be able to use them. The next main idea is this sort of falsism that people have come to believe that the older you get, the less you're able to learn new ideas. We have this terrible colloquialism about you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You are not a dog. You're a human being. And that phrase has been debunked many, many, many times. You can see the sources at the end of the presentation. Older people learn just as well as younger people. The difference being, if we look back at our main idea, we learn when we see things as valuable. As we get older, we challenge ideas more and more. We're less willing to accept them instantaneously as, oh, that will be valuable to me. Our final idea is that I would love to enable you to learn these things in real time. Research tells us that adults are autonomous learners. They don't want an expert to stand in front of them and tell them exactly what they'll need to know. They want to decide for themselves, oh, I need to know that, and then go about it in their own way. So I would love to give you some tools to enable you to do that. Here are the levels that we discussed earlier. Level 1 is some basic knowledge. That can be things like terminology or pictographs. The next level is our attitude, which, as we discussed, we have some maybe pre-existing thoughts we need to challenge. And then level 3 and 4 is your ability to seek out and learn information and then evaluate whether or not it is true or if it answered your question. Here are some things. Oh, this is pirate themed. Did you notice? That's just for whimsy. When we think about pirates, we don't necessarily think about a friendly, happy, dancing individual. We think of someone more rugged, maybe rude, maybe very direct and to the point. And I love that image of a pirate in our mind as we talk about these ideas, because it can be intimidating to learn something that seems complicated on the surface. And when we are intimidated, we don't necessarily respond with smiles and music. Sometimes we can be harsh in our response to these things, which is very human and very normal. It's one way our body and our mind protects us. But what is a pirate if not an individual that travels and sees new things and seeks out whole new worlds? And that's really what we're doing. Some things that might block us as we move forward or challenge what we already know about our own digital literacy is being introduced to new technology or having a technological system we're already comfortable with be updated and changed. So what we used to know is no longer useful. We all have a fear inside of us of being viewed as incompetent, especially if we are a working professional and we have been for many years, and suddenly those expertise we used to have are no longer compatible with the work that's being asked of us. No one wants to be looked at and seen as lesser or weighed and be found wanting. We also might have a fear of obsolescence, where every useful thing we know how to do is no longer needed, and we can't serve in the way we want to serve other people. And then, of course, we all might find offense at being offered help by someone we see as less competent than ourselves. These are all very normal feelings that lots of adults experience in the workplace or in their new academic setting. The FBI reported in 2023 over $3.4 billion lost to adults 60 or older by way of internet scams. When we approach the internet as a tool for learning, for work, we can't ignore this ongoing problem. It is true that older adults are largely targeted by people with ill intent. There are lots of particular practices that we can learn about how to avoid scams that it does seem like other people can glance at an interaction and instantly know, oh, that's a scam, or oh, that's probably legitimate. Things like looking at the email address and seeing if there's a typo. We can do the nitty-gritty things like that. But one overarching piece of advice I can give to older adults who are worried about scams, even scams coming from their own university or from their place of business. The advice is to not trust incoming contact. Only the contact you are initiating. What does that look like? Let's say my bank sends me an email that says there's some kind of problem and I need to type in my password immediately to access it. Okay, that is incoming. I'm not going to respond to that. I'll probably report that as a scam immediately. Let's say I get that email and I have a real concern. Something like this has happened before. I'm very worried about the safety of my assets. What I can do is, remember, we don't interact with something incoming. What I can do is, through a trusted avenue, contact my bank. Not contacting them through that email. If that email has a phone number in it, I'm not going to call that phone number. I'm going to call my actual bank's phone number that I get from Google Maps or that I have from existing correspondence that I have in the mail that is on my actual banking app. I'm going to contact my bank and say, hey, I got this email. Do I need to do anything about it? And they will probably be very gracious and thankful and be like, that is a scam. So glad you did not interact or call the number in that email. Or there's a real problem. Okay, you've just called the people who can help. So that's one example of only trusting contact that you initiate yourself. Another way to avoid scams is when you receive something maybe suspicious. You've inherited $1 million from a relative you've never met. You can just search the contents of that correspondence. It might say so-and-so law company. You can search up that law company to see if it exists or not. That brings us to a very important point. How to use the tools that are available. One basic tool that I encourage everyone to use every day, multiple times a day, is a search engine. If you don't know how to operate a system, if you don't know what a phrase means, if you are unaware, you can ask. I promise that is what your peers are doing. Your younger peers, you worry, will push you into obsolescence, are only using a tool that you are not willing to use. A search engine could mean something like Yahoo or Bing, or what many people use, Google. I can Google any question. Lots of search engines now have an AI integrated response. AI is artificial intelligence. Although that's just a nomenclature. There is nothing artificial and there is nothing intelligent. What AI is a hyper speed way to search something in a search engine. It seeks out from a gigantic database keywords and will answer your question using existing data. That is what AI does. It seeks out all the text that's ever been inputted into its database, and it produces what it believes to be the answer to your question. That algorithm improves over time. That's why we say that it is intelligent, or that it is learning. It just means as it gets feedback over whether that answer was correct or not, it adjusts its future answers to reflect what it thinks will be more accurate. Which is to say, what the program has been told will be more accurate. There's no thinking or intelligence going on. AI is your very best friend because it can answer a nuanced question by looking at all the other times someone has asked a similar question and piecing together an answer that fits your question. When you type a question into Google and you use a sentence format, how do I get to the grocery store? Very often nowadays, a AI-generated sentence will appear at the top, answering your question as if you're talking to a person. Instead of getting lists and lists and lists of websites you can click on, at the very top, it answers your question in a sentence format. That can be a very helpful tool, and I know that your peers are using it. Here's a small activity just addressing our anxiety surrounding the vocab that might not be familiar to us. Here are some words I hope are already familiar to you. Here on the right-hand column, we have some words, and on the left-hand column, we have some maybe newer technological terms. It depends on your own personal journey with the internet and technology as it has developed, whether the list on the left gives you apprehension or not. We think of these terms sometimes as made-up words that add layers of unnecessary confusion to our correspondence. On the left, we have blog or vlog, apps as in applications, the desktop, emojis, PM, DM, or instant message. On the right, we have the word log or diary, website, background, visual aids, internal email. What I hope you may have noticed about these two lists is that they are identical in meaning. A blog, which comes from two words being put together, a web log. We all know what a log is. A web log, we put those words together, we have got the word blog. Or vlog, which is also two words, the word video and the word log put together. Video log, a vlog. All of that to say, just information being passed on by a person. Either it's being passed along in text format, in paragraphs with a blog, or through a video clip, a vlog. An app, I'm sure if you own a smartphone, you're familiar with. An app is just a hyperlink that leads to a website. It is an icon, an image you can click on that opens a website. That is all. You may be familiar with the icons on the background of your computer. So let's say on the monitor, your home screen, before you've opened anything up, you see several icons that will directly hyperlink you to a website or a program. Those are apps. And we call that background on the back of your screen the desktop. Again, you may be familiar with these terms already. What I'm trying to draw attention to is how you are already capable of knowing multiple words to describe something and opting to use the technologically literate term instead. All we want to do is expand your digital vocabulary so that there's not apprehension around what you read in your correspondence, and you're able to more clearly follow instructions without feeling overwhelmed by what they're asking you to do because there is internet jargon in them. One thing that some older adults don't understand, although those who do understand really lean in, is the emoji. An emoji is a small cartoon picture that can fit into text correspondence. So it's not an image that you attach. It's not a moving set of pictures like a GIF would be. It is just a visual aid that can be typed. That is what an emoji is. They have a number of meanings and uses. There are hundreds of them in most smart devices on the keyboards. But all it is within the text body of a correspondence, a picture. The last thing on this list is to PM or to private message, DM to direct message, or IM, sometimes instant message. All of these things have the exact same meaning. It is a small short form email. It's not being sent to an email address. It's being sent directly to you in whatever program is being discussed. Lots of workplaces or academic entities have their own correspondence within their websites. So you can directly message your instructor, or your boss can directly message you. It's just a short form email in that program instead of from your email address. Let's do this activity together. See how easy it becomes. Here's an example of an instant message you might receive at work. It says, "Immediate action. PR is launching a weekly blog that will feature highlighted products each week this quarter. In lieu of overloading the newsletter, we will be using the company app to distribute this. Make sure you've downloaded the app and saved it to your desktop on your company device. I have PM'd those with further instructions." And then very small, maybe too small to see even, there is, in fact, an emoji. Let's talk about what is being discussed. PR, public relations. See how easy it is to learn acronyms? You have so many of those already in your mind. We just want to add a few more. A weekly blog. A blog is just a website that's updated regularly. Will feature highlighted products each week this quarter. The newsletter, likely sent out through email, will not be used. Instead, they'll be using the company app, which is to say, a website, to distribute this. When you download the app, which is just the hyperlink, you can save to the desktop of your phone or, as it says here, your company device. You can just place that icon on the background of your company device. I have PM'd those with further instructions. If there's more for you to do, you will find that in your inbox within your company's program. Let's talk about the little emoji here. It looks like a sparkle or some glitter maybe. What does that mean? Well, it can mean different things to different people. What we can do is utilize the tool we discussed. We can Google, what does this emoji mean? And type it in. We can try to describe it, say, what does the sparkle emoji mean? And Google will produce for you a curated response. Let's go back to our 4 levels. Level 1 includes basic knowledge of computers and the web. Level 2 focuses on the ability to seek, find, understand, and appraise information on the internet. Level 3 focuses on using the information you've gained to address or solve a problem. And Level 4 focuses on your own subjective evaluation of the things you have learned. I hope knowing the separation in those 4 levels helps you better understand where you are on your path to digital literacy. I hope by exposing you to some very basic knowledge and terms, I've opened your eyes to see that you already have that basic understanding. All we want to do is build on it. We slowly add complexity. We have a lot less apprehension around our own digital literacy. I want to encourage you every time you feel that anxiety to shift your attitude, to take ownership and control of it. One way we do that is by celebrating our progress. All that's left to do, I can't do for you, and that's to be able to repeat these results independently. The next time you don't understand something, I challenge you to immediately look it up on the search engine of your choice. If you want to get started, I would use Google, and I would look at what the AI-generated response has to say. I've listed some additional resources for you, as well as where my own research is pulled from, and I want to thank you for participating in this training today. If you have any questions, please leave them below, and I will address them as soon as I can. Good luck. You got this.